Hello, hello, everybody. Oh, hello, 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 hello. Hello for everybody who's joining. Hello. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna wait for the guest of honor today. There it is. I see him. Come on, Tony. Just request to join in. Come on, Tony. uh, Tony just joined Instagram this week, so we're very, very excited to have the wonderful Anthony Manoli join us today. He was my vocal coach for a while. I'm just waiting for him to ask us to request to be in the video. Let me see if I can help from my end. Or Annie, I see you there. Like, maybe you can help Tony too. He's amazing. You're not gonna regret to see Tony today. Thank you for everybody that is joining in. I think here it is. Yeah. I think he's coming. We're waiting, connecting.
I found.
There he is.
Don't worry.
Hello.
All right. How are we? Are we good?
Give me 1 second. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
There it is, the one and only, the grand Yoda.
Welcome to my corner.
Welcome to a corner. Well,
welcome to my corner.
Tony, I have to say, I have never seen so many people joining right away. Like, you have a lot of fans today with us.
Okay, then I'm feeling performance anxiety. Oh my God.
So are we drinking already?
No, we have 2 more hours after this of work. We're not drinking. Don't start rumors.
Those are rumors.
No rumors.
Anyway, Tony, thank you again for joining us in Creative Conversations here at the Dallas Opera. We are really, really, really thrilled to have you. For the ones that don't know, the great Yoda, as we call him in practice, this is Anthony Manoli. He was my vocal coach for almost like 10 years plus, and also an incredible friend. There are a lot of people in the pros work with him. And Tony, like, welcome here, and I want to talk to you a little bit. Like, tell us a little bit who is Tony Manoli? Like, where are you from? How you started? How did you got into this, into coaching? You're spending a lot of your life behind the piano, dealing with a lot of like crazy people.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here, and what a thrill to have a show in my corner. I thought I did it privately all my life. Now I do it for the world. Okay, I came from, and here comes the bleepers already, East Bumblefuck, which is really coal mining town south of Pittsburgh. I grew up really close to the West Virginia border.
Yeah.
And when I started to play in high school choir, I'd already been at the piano from 5 years old. And I said, maybe I could be good at this. And then in high school, I started to work with singers. I only knew of a coach as someone who worked with the basketball team, the football team. I was a big sports town. That's all coach meant. So I started to get into music more through singing and piano. And somebody said, "You're a great vocal coach." I said, "I'm a what? What is that?" I just kept playing for singers and learning a vocabulary, I guess, on how to speak to them. And that kept going through my undergraduate degree at NEC. I took 3 years out to work in Boston to play for choruses to see if I really wanted to do this crazy business. Juilliard was crazy to accept me as a piano major for my master's. I came to New York in 1984, and I've been here ever since. 9-10 year diversion in Europe, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
But I even said, while I was getting my master's at Juilliard, I want to be a better pianist, but I think when this is all said and done, I'm going to be working with singers for the rest
Yeah.
of my life. And that's how that got started. Um, I met the wonderful Ellen Fall at Juilliard. To me, she was a mentor and a great, great inspiration to my ear.
Mm-hmm.
And she taught me one thing really, really quickly, and that was keep it simple. Keep it simple. You're not dealing with brain surgery, you're not curing cancer. Keep it simple. And that for me stuck with me. And I was, maybe a lot of people don't know this, I was in corporate New York also from 1985 to 1994. The last 4.5 years, I was a legal secretary at one of the top five corporate law
Wow.
firms in the world. I would go from the law firm to her studio when she was done, and I would coach till 10 or 11 at night and then go to the law firm the next day and start it all over again. I built my clientele there. Um, she never gave me the time of day. Someone canceled. I played 3 hours. She said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "I have a temp job." She said, "Cancel. I'm firing my pianist, and you're going to play for me." First person that walked in the door was Don Upshaw. The second person walking in the door was Carolyn James. The third was Veronica Villarroel, and blah, blah,
Wow.
blah, blah. That started my career playing concerts with Veronica. Some guy kept following me around saying, "You've got to work at the Liceo." By the third time he said it, I said to Veronica, "What the hell is the Liceo?" And she said, "Stupida Pianista." That is the opera house in Barcelona. And here I am, and that begot other opera houses. They burned down, as you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and my director friends that I did a show with in Spoleto said, "Why don't you come and conduct?" Louis Longray thinks you're a conductor, and I said, "I think he's nuts, but I'll give it a shot." And I was all over France and Switzerland, and the career just kept going.
Wow. When did you decide to come back and establish, your your psychiatrist practice, aka
Yeah.
your coaching room in New York?
Well, boredom. Politics happen, and I
Yeah.
know we had a lot of contracts at Garnier at that point. The team, there was
Hmm.
the two directors, Louis, myself, and Ugal came in and said, "I'm not going to honor those. I know someone else did. Sorry." So
Hmm.
my work as of 98, 99, I was going back to the Liceo to do concert work, but there was no opera house.
Yeah.
My work stopped overnight, much like this pandemic,
Yeah.
overnight. So I came home. I started to work in my apartment. About 10 months after, I called Christina Scheppelman, who was in Washington, D.C. I said, "I'm bored. I don't want to just do this." She said, "Give your materials to, at that point, Stephen Gathman, to the head of the music
Hmm.
department. They needed a conductor in a month to do Vanessa, the barber."
Oh,
And
wow. Yeah.
I started at Washington National Opera in 2002. They decided to hire me for a fledgling young artist program also. And that's how I combine both. I think the balance of doing many things is what really challenged and fascinated me, not just coaching. And it morphed. The more the opera kept going, the more I kept working with more singers. This took over. This became very robust. And playing concerts also, you have to
Yeah.
practice. All of a sudden, I said, "Okay, I think the opera career, 25 years of working in opera houses is enough. I have enough at home. I have a great artist I'm privileged to work with, and I'm going to call it a day in opera." Sometimes it brings me back, but mostly it's this now at home.
Wow. 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 Well,
That's the Reader's Digest abridged version of
the
it. There's
Reader's
many
Digest version.
many
And
fun details in between.
and Tony, what are like for you, like, can you tell us a few of, I'm totally gonna do the commercial a little bit, but like you work with some of incredible voices. Like what are some of the voices that you have worked through the years? If you can like Just brag a tiny bit for all of our audience today.
God.
There's so
Well,
many. There's so many.
okay. The privilege has always been Sandra Radvanovsky. That's been a joy, a big joy. She's an immense talent. From there,
And you can
Costello
play
has joined the
recitals with
ranks.
her so many, right?
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
can play. Yeah, you always. By the way, he also plays a lot of recitals with us. Like with we. It's always a very very big bump to have you that know our voices so well and go through the training of the repertoire and everything, and then you play gorgeously. I have a few great memories with that. But again, sorry, Costello too. Stephen
Okay,
Costello, very
Costello
good
joined the
friend.
ranks. We did our first recital last October. That was a blast.
Yeah.
Paul Ansani, 25 years with Matt. It's like marriage, like Sandra's. Sandra sent Matt to me a year after we
Oh,
were working together. Ellie Dean, what a privilege. Now, Jennifer Rowley, who's just doing a bang up job with you guys. She's
yeah.
amazing. You know, these are the Ellie Dean, Fritoli, Barbara Fritoli. What a joy!
Wow.
These are the people that I've had the privilege to work with. It's been fantastic, and of course you in there somewhere. That wasn't bad.
That wasn't
That
bad.
was okay.
I have to say, we I found something very special with you. I have gone through I always during my pro career I work with also my voice teacher Cesar Ulloa. But I remember that when I met you, we were a month before going to Operal in 2006 in Los Angeles Opera, and Placido at that time hired you to come to be like almost a resident for almost a month. You were with us, like it was
One
a yeah,
one
it was
month.
one
One
full
month.
month, and I came with a lot of like already certain vocal talent and everything, but as you said, what I always loved it was that it was an hour, and like those 60 minutes we work, it was always very simple. There was not a lot of I would vomit back a lot of emotional trauma from breaking through certain vocal things.
Hmm.
And but you were really really like just let's get it done. Like you have always been very you talk a lot about your clientele, the like you don't talk about your studio, you talk about you see it also like a business. You can really really, I have seen that you can separate a lot the personal through to the professional. And it comes to a segue that I have talked a lot on my series about the particularities of choosing a vocal coach, an agent, a voice teacher, all the people that are your team when you're in the pros. So from your chair, what are the things that you hope that that an artist that reach out to you is like, hey, I hear that you are very good, like so and so teacher or so and so singer recommended to you. Like, what are you looking forward to a relationship with a client from your end?
Well, okay, you have to suss out what they're looking for. Some of them are damaged, some of them are traumatized, and they still have great careers. You want to create a safe space. You want them to know that it's a safe space to try things, to cry. God knows. They have gone through some
God
pretty
knows.
intense crap.
God
And
knows.
okay, first of all, you're going to need some time because your cords are swollen from crying so much. Well, we're going to have to take a break, but to give them a foundation of learning how to physicalize the singing in their body, knowing where to find it all the time when they're sick, when they're with reflux, when they're with allergies. Know how to create your own acoustical space. And I'll talk about that with Zoom because that's been
Mhm.
interesting because
Yeah.
the playing field just changed
Yeah.
overnight. And I
Absolutely.
love watching a singer start to hear themselves, and when they put in that speaker or headphone or that little earbud, all bets are off. And okay, look, in front of me, 6 feet away, you're going to have to learn not to listen to yourself and to produce by sensation. That's what I want you to know the most. Step number one. Step number two, dive deep into the text, into the artistry, into the prosody of the language. When you walk away with two or three simple posted notes, items, you can go out and deal with a lot. When the conductor challenges you, when the coach challenges you, you have a tool bag. You can
Yeah.
change the color of your voice without squeezing your throat and raping the instrument by the end of the day. You can conduct the orchestra without conducting it with your throat. You can let everyone hear you technically, and you can have, I think, the wherewithal and the confidence to produce it under pressure. Because most of my people are under pressure all day. You're as good as your last audition, and you're as good as your last performance. So there's a great deal
God
of
knows,
pressure
yeah.
out there, and now it's all changed. So we're dealing with a different format that I've come kicking and screaming into. I wasn't ready for this.
So that is one of the things, that we talk a lot here in Creative Conversations. It's in on things about the industry, of course, through that we are going through COVID. We talk a lot about that we were not prepared, as you just said. We didn't have the infrastructure of going digital or working digital, or performing digital and create revenue. But how what we talk a lot about the singers, we talk about the opera companies, we talk about the fans, but like what about, like, like you, like the specialists, the professionals, the high-end pros that help the singing pros to work, that like the opera companies call you and it's like, I need you to fix this tenor in 2 days because he's gonna go in. Like, what is the reality? Like, you are in the United States and worldwide, you're like in the top 5 vocal coaches in the planet. Like, you have a reputation and incredible clientele. What is the reality that you're feeling today? We have heard a lot of so many points, but we haven't heard about your niche.
That is an excellent question. Like me stopping my career in Europe, this pandemic ended my clientele overnight. Overnight. So I am privileged to have all these working singers who sing at a high level, and that was an attribute. The next day, it was a detriment because they're not working. Okay? Why would they want to come and do this? Zoom, whatever platform, I have 5 at this point. Why would they want to do this? Because one thing we haven't acknowledged yet, and we'll get there, I'm sure, but it's a very, very good word to bring up. We're grieving. There's a lot of grief right now.
Yeah.
And you have singers in shock who are in a fetal position, who can't get out of bed, or singers that I got to a level who maybe were a little damaged and they're starting to sing well again. Their techniques have changed. Stop. And it all went away. That's hard to deal with. So that business trickles down to me. It stopped. So, I work with a few people after that who still want to keep exercising that muscle, who have that go get it spirit. Jen is one of them. She's extraordinary. Shout out to Jen Rowley. There's somebody you want to, take over. Jen for president. And she'll do it. She'll end the pandemic. But it's a great thing because, okay, she's grieving like all of us, but she got her energy together to keep working. She's doing teaching, a lot of teaching. I can't ask my other clients to do that. Some of them are dealing with this in their own private ways, and they're still dealing with it. It's 4 months. 2 months, I was in a foul mood for the 4 months. You either decided to be a hunk or a chunk. I went for chunk. I cooked and cooked and cooked and enjoyed my wine cove and the joys of reading the New York Times and then the Washington Post. But I lost a lot of business, which is just starting to come back. So my reality, my harsh reality was I went from a robust schedule to
Hmm.
nothing almost overnight. And I made the decision to pull the plug on clients coming here and my students at Manus. I teach at Manus. I pulled the plug on them by about March 12th. That was it. Nobody in the apartment.
Fast.
My building sends a letter to all of us that says, if you have businesses at home, we strongly urge you stop right now. And then, of
Oof.
course, my business at home is somebody projecting,
Yeah.
apparently spreading the disease in my direction and leaving the remnants in my apartment. Wow. I mean, yeah, that was fantastic. So I stopped also I was scared. I was frightened.
Yeah.
And I read and read and read. And then I got away from social media. That's what killed me. 5 people stopped talking to their 5 best friends. 10 people stopped talking to their friends. You're wrong. You're an idiot. Why you? I couldn't. You came up with a theory. there was somebody debunking it the next day.
Yeah, that's
Look,
true.
folks, chill. So I stepped back. I just read. I tried to stay off social media. I started to practice the piano as a pianist again,
Hmm.
getting joy out of creating music for myself because I missed so badly collaborating with people I love to collaborate with. So I thought, go back to being a pianist. I've got some extraordinarily brilliant colleagues who have been shrewd and clever and so good at redeveloping themselves. I mean, we went from grief to adapting. You know, I started to feel like somebody passed away in my family, and through the grief, I had to get the funeral arrangements set up. That's what I started to feel like I was doing. I lost a part of myself. So I really got kicked in the stomach. You know, and I love my artists, but you know, I'm getting texts and I'm getting people reaching out to me all day. They're crying. They're in great pain. It's horrifying.
And that's
And
something, that we don't. You touch one thing, and I'm gonna come back to this, but you said something very particular. Like people are reaching out to you, like uh, the connection, the ability, and I think like there's incredible wealth in everything that you talk technically and stylistically and the language. But I think one of the main things that you have, and I have experience on first or like I've been with you. We have prepared recordings. We have been at the Hollywood Bowl in Mexico and all over the place. Like we have gone and worked together for game time. And so many times you have seen some of my most vulnerable times when I was getting sick, and some of the most successful times when I was called by the New York Times, whatever, right? So you see me on the highs and the lows, and that aspect. I think one of your biggest gifts is your psychological support, like the way that you can connect the technique and the motion with your brain. And that's why I've been joking about your psychiatrist practice, but like what you arrive mentally, what you deliver mentally is hard. And I'm sure that like a lot of singers, they're lost and they go to you, but you're grieving too. Like how does that feel, that relationship? Like again, you have been so good at the pro and at the personal to divide it, but now you feel that people are reaching out to you, as you said, like to grieve. Like how is that experience with you?
um, it's draining, but it's good for me to be part of that discussion because I'm grieving too. So, you know, it's you see many things about reach out when you're so depressed. I do the same. Um, we are in this together. This part of it we are. So
Hmm.
it's good for me to hear other people's grief. It's good to discuss it. It's good to hash it out, to verbalize things, to, you know, put names on the demon and really discuss it. It's helped me. It's helped me a lot. I wish I could say. I mean, I'm Sicilian. Come on, I wring my hands and I scream a lot. I'm thank God. I to sit at home and do this to the emotion. I can't. All right.
Yeah.
So I've had my moments of completely being great, crying the next day. Tears are part of it. You see something on, I don't watch television. Now I'm watching more. And now I'm sitting there weeping over the Mr. Rogers movie, going, what the hell is going on with me? We're all at a loss. Our emotions are raw. Say it. Um, get it out there. Certainly, it's a good step to try to heal because we got a lot of colleagues who feel the same, and we have to just acknowledge we're hurting. And
And
I
sorry,
you know,
and do you
hurt
go ahead, go ahead.
first. You first.
I wanted to ask you, like, how that you went to a process of grieving, but I have seen you now like starting kind of like coaching again. You have kind of like done a lot of trial and error of Zoom versus Facebook Messenger versus I don't know, like what other
Skype.
platform, Skype, Ring Central, whatever you want to use, but and also apply your all the tools that you have, your graders, your psychological help, your stylistic help, and everything into Zoom. But how are you adapting? Can you tell us a little bit also about that process
Sure.
of pivoting,
Sure.
from where you are into this, like just to also understand a little bit the technicalities that you have gone through into moving into the grid process into, like, as you said, adapting now.
Well, look, it wasn't the first time with the rodeo. I was always doing some Skype, not in a robust way, but it was always there for years before this. The thing that was really, first of all, my struggle, two concrete walls between the router and this piano. That is a pesky pain in the butt. So I now got my little Netgear extender. Look at me, 21st century. I'm so with it. So you guys won't be on so much of a lag, and I can hear the sound without being compressed. What Zoom has done, and Skype and Facebook Messenger, and I don't have FaceTime, but FaceTime for others, WhatsApp, video chat,
Mm-hmm.
it narrows down a lot of the singers, I hate to say, gremlins. And I hear it in stark vulnerability. And that's horrifying for the singer, and I am sorry. But here's the great thing, I can be more laser focused on details.
Mm-hmm.
Synchronous work is great if I send you a practice tape, which I've made a lot of, and then you play your practice tape and you sing, and then I say thank you. Please deep six the practice tape. That's enough of me. Do you have a keyboard handy? I have a keyboard, and we go to work. I ask the singers to be in ensemble with me through Zoom. We all know there's a lag. Okay, this is what they start to figure out. If they listen to themselves, they're they're called out. It's great. So all of a
Wow.
sudden, I can advocate. Yeah, I know you're listening. I know this is horrifying. I know when I work with you one on one and I start to accompany you when you're getting better with your own sense of rhythm, you screw up because there's a lag with me. This is the medium. Accept it. Here's what you're going to learn. Physicalize your own rhythm. Because here's what's going to happen in real life. You're going to go in to the audition room when we get back to this, and the pianist will never listen to you. And you're on your own. They're not listening, so screw the poor person. You're going to get on stage.
That's true.
The sets are going to be open. You don't hear the orchestra well. Maybe it's a little bel canto with the violas playing in triplets, and you're screaming to stage management, turn the monitors up, and they're doing this, and the conductor is doing this, and there you go. So you hear nothing, and you have to physicalize the rhythm and lead without squeezing your throat. Enter Zoom, Skype, this kind of synchronous work. Okay? My asynchronous work is to produce a study tape. I also am going to be teaching people this summer. I don't know. I'm comfortable doing this with the singers I know. This is the first time I'm going to work with people I don't know. That scares me. So I have to get to know their voices, whatever audio clips, I got to get to know them because that's not the greatest way to work, in my opinion, so far. So now I'm going to see this. I'm going to see a girl at 3:30. A shout out to Perry DiChristina. She will be my 3:30. You want
Yeah.
to hear the best synchronous experience I've had so far with this whole platform? She sang Dr. Atomic,
Oh
Am I
my
in Your
God.
Light? John Adams.
Oh my God.
Perfect. Perfect. We were synchronized so well. I said, Perry, how did that happen? She said, Oh, I don't know. I don't pay attention to my pianist because they screw it up all the time, so I just go. Remember that comment. Singers are learning to trust their instincts, and if they can't physicalize singing well, boy, do I know it.
Oh my
So,
God. Like, I should have been singing in the times of pandemic. I would have become a better singer, like, so
well, you know where to find me.
the quote of the day is like, you become a better musician now through Zoom. It's
Yes,
amazing, like, and then
yes.
one of the aspects that you said that is very, very it's very fascinating because I have seen now, and especially in the past 2 weeks, um, like I have seen a lot of the biggest names of the industry is starting to, like, singers, like is starting to come into your territory, let's say, right? Like they started to teach. I
My
see.
corner.
Yeah, your corner. And you said something about, like, I don't know your voice, and I am a little, if not hesitant, I'm gonna try to be more conscious, or careful about now teaching through the screen and discover your voice and give you pointers when I don't really know your voice and I don't know how it's gonna pass now through process algorithms. So how do you feel, like, again, you're one of the top in the niche of vocal coach, now that a lot of the people that sometimes even work with you are now going into the digital realm, and they have a little more visibility, let's say, than a lot of the voice teachers of like the gurus that are always behind the scenes. They have more visibilities. A lot of the people that wanna, if I remember, like, if I was in Mexico, you know what, I was 16 years ago, and I see suddenly that I don't know, like, Placido is going to give a song for a class for $150. I would have sell, or I would go into the narco, like, trade and start giving, starting to invest something in my singing. But how do you
You've heard
feel
it,
now?
ladies and gentlemen. He has a secondary career, narcotics. You heard it
Well,
here
it's a
first.
rumor. It's a rumor. Hey, one of my bosses, a shout out to Lisa Burry. She's a great fan of this show, and I see her there. So, like, let's keep it professional, Tony. Don't put the rumors out there.
If I need a loan, wink, wink, I'm calling you. What these people don't know listening right now is this is a normality between us. So, this
I
is
get
fun. Okay. I just interrupted your train of thought. Go ahead.
it. So how do you feel now that a lot of the people that even you work with you are now starting to offer online lessons, and they also, they don't. We don't know. I don't. Again, I want to say I'm not criticizing anybody that is teaching out there. I think that all of us have to survive. I think that also all of us have to have something to say. But I wanted to get your point of view because we don't. Again, there you might not have the PR machine that some maybe what big name has. And so of course they're
Hmm.
gonna get more successful immediately with people like they don't know. And you mentioned that
Hmm.
that you have been hesitant of adding people that you don't know. You're starting now to listen to new people and discovering them through Zoom, again adapting. But how does you feel of now, like, all these people that come to your studio now also are like going for the same dollar that you get.
Well, look, they've earned that just by getting to the level that they've gotten to, and they get to do whatever they want because they're earning for income. The last thing I'm going to do is tell someone you shouldn't make money doing that. You need to put dinner on the table just like the rest of us. So you go
Of
right
course.
ahead.
Yeah.
It's also a two-part answer. One is to speak to the people you mentioned. The other is to speak to the buyer, the student. So
Hmm.
let's put that to the right for a second. With all the people doing that right now, you have a lot that can be offered from their experience on stage, their experience with conductors, coaches, learning the music by diving so deep and doing how many new productions of it. So that's a lot. That's valid. They're going to
Of
bring
course.
tons. Okay, so that student for their 20 minutes or an hour or whatever they get is going to get a wealth of knowledge. And with Zoom, you recorded it, you could have your recorder handy. You've got it to go back to. Um, if the teacher decides or the singer decides to impart technical wisdom, well, if you can do it through Zoom, well, or whatever platform, vaya con Dios, that's good. I'm happy for you. No, 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 I am. I'm not being
Yeah.
funny. I think it's great that they can do that. But here's where we go back to the buyer. Um, if you have people who have accepted to work with that person for that much money or whatever they're charging, I think they know what they're getting. The buyer is more savvy now. I don't think you had somebody fall off the turnip truck or on the way to the convent or the nunnery who says, I have all this money, I want to work with you. Sure, they have every reason and they have every
Mm-hmm.
right to do it. So they might not get much out of it.
Mm-hmm.
They might screw up their voices. They might really try to please somebody through a platform that they're going to just grab the hell out of their throats and lose their voices. They just learned something. The ultimate responsibility is for them now to have their team around them or someone to go to and say, what happened? Or reach out to the person afterwards. I'm sure they're available for emails, texts, this,
Yeah,
Instagram,
yeah.
Facebook. Can you help me because I might have misunderstood what you said? Then you start a dialogue where you learn something. Okay, that person on the other end of the computer either is really good at articulating, and I'm seeing a lot of brilliant people out there who articulate their ideas really well, then they will teach that student a lot. There will
Yeah.
be students who get a lot out of it. There will be students who get nothing. There will be students who will be hurt vocally. They're going to learn something. It might be the hard way. Okay, the teachers, the famous singers who are out there, they're finding their own voices as well. They're developing as teachers. So the buyer has to be aware of that. The buyer hopefully will come in more educated and know what to take out of that teacher. We're going to hear 5 opinions in 1 week.
Yeah.
Is that any different from the business before the pandemic? Really? You know, and I know. You go to a young artist program, 6 opinions in 1 day. In
Yeah.
1 day. So, is it going to change? If you have an experienced singer, they know that. They know how to sift. Sifting is a really great thing to learn. If you know it already, you're going to do brilliantly. If you don't know how to do it, you'll pick yourself up. You'll talk to your other colleagues, your other singer friends, and say, did you hear the class? Did I really suck? Did I get what that person was saying? I mean, am I really that stupid? Or did I actually try to do what they wanted and did I fail because the information wasn't good? You're going to learn just like you did in a room in a master class. It's just how you choose to deal with this platform and how skilled that teacher is. I think all of them have done some work before the pandemic. So,
Yeah.
I think it's a
But
buyer beware thing.
it is a fascinating thing because when you were telling me this and it's great, and of course, always you're so positive and so like, like you know that there's work for everybody, and that's what I have always loved, that you have never been like a jealous teacher, or like, or saying like you're saying those things, that's fascinating. And as a buyer, I would say, like, as you said, like, I can make, if I'm going to be in school in student debt, like, I can have now, like, exactly what you mentioned. I can make my own young artist program for me, even if I didn't get accepted to the Los Angeles Opera, or the San Francisco Opera, or La Scala, or the Met, or something like that. I can go and reach out to certain performers or certain coaches and say, like, I'm going to have a lesson with Super Singer 1, and then Super Singer 2, and then I'm going to get the coach, and then I'm going to get the French lesson, and then I'm going to get solfeggio here. Like, you can make your own package. So that's a really great for
I was
everybody
going
that
to
is
say, how
following you,
great is that? How great is
Yeah.
that? That's fantastic.
But, and the other thing that I wanted to ask you of the commercial aspect, because we always talk a little bit about the business aspect here in our conversations, is, so, like, the super famous voice teachers in the United States, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the United States now, like, like Cesar, like you, like Bill Schumann and Dr. King, like Michael Paul, all these people that are major voice teachers, like, normally you guys don't have a website. Normally you guys, it's a recommendation that only the ones in the know, because you guys work with young artist programs or top conservatories, like, only going to the school or only knowing somebody that knows your number, knows your email, can get through you. But now, is that like, is it something that now is forcing all of you guys to be like, okay, now I have to be on Instagram and I have to join the Michael Fabiano app to teach, or put something in Facebook or something, like what is something that you guys are like, from your point of view, like, is it forcing you to go out? Are you not there yet? Are you thinking about it? You're always been also very business oriented. So what is your feel about all of this?
Look, I still want to work at the level that I worked at before the pandemic. So if people want to reach out to me and work via this platform, sure, we can have a conversation. I can see their work in other audio, as I said earlier, but I don't really want to open another business. Just, okay, I need to pay my rent. If I like the singers, if the singers are recommended by some of those teachers and master teachers online, great, I'm going to take them. I, and this is a please get back to me in a month and I might have a different answer.
Right?
I've almost been tempted to go back to corporate New York
Oh
because
no.
if I was, well, I've only had a 27-year lag in my resume. You think anybody would notice, but that's a small detail. If I was working in a way with people I wasn't comfortable with, or I wasn't happy with the level of my work and theirs, I don't know if I could live with that. I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, I can't speak for my colleagues. I can only speak for myself. It doesn't make me feel right taking somebody's money because they want to use my name and they're not getting anything out of me. And as I would in my apartment, the one-on-one talk at the beginning is, what can I do for you? Why are you here? You are obviously sent to me because there's some issues or you want just my take on things. I would have the same talk with anyone who wants to work with me sight unseen. Like, guys, thank you for reaching out. What can I possibly do for you? I've listened to what you sent me. I don't think I can help you. I think you need to work on a different level before we talk again in 6 months to a year. Because I wouldn't be happy working that way all day. I just wouldn't. I would rather, save my few ducats and thank you, Department of Labor, New York, for unemployment. Save my ducats and wait till I have a more robust um, stable again with singers who are getting back to work. And let's face it, some are going to drop out. Some are going to find it too hard and they're going to have to stop and they will have to change their whole life. That is heartbreaking. If there are other singers who college level who are starting to think about a young artist program, sure, bring them on. I want to see what you have to offer. The program you sort of just mentioned that you would create for yourselves, I'm really, really very excited to see that they're going to do that for themselves. And maybe they weren't before the pandemic, making it into good YAP programs, young artist programs. So those are the people I want to work with if I was going to extend my day. That's great. But if there's somebody who just has money, who feels that this is something that's going to make them feel better about themselves and they have no shot at a career, then I'm a snake oil salesman or I'm a used car salesman. Hi, do I have an offer for you? I really don't want to go there, me personally.
Yeah. But I would say, like, I just want to clarify things because we have a lot of people, most of the fellowship of this, specifically this forum, we have a lot of singers, a lot of people from upper companies, but definitely for the people that I've seen a lot of people that I have been on masterclass recently, or I see a lot of people from Mexico, and muchas gracias por venir hoy. But let's say, for example, I am a graduate of the Young Artist Program of Mexico City. Like I'm good. I have raised to that top that it's the wealth of talent that my country has in voices. But it's very difficult, as you know, get a visa and come to New York and see you. But now I can reach out like with so if I am already kind of in the professional track or I have graduated an undergrad or a master's, then I should be able to maybe at least have a discussion with you, send you a direct message through Instagram or Facebook, and be like, hey, I saw your blah blah blah. Like, would you be interested? So that you're open, right? Like, not maybe from the
Absolutely.
one that just want to pick up like a singing lesson to rock karaoke, but if they are already into this track, they should be able to reach out and hopefully like get a time with you, no?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. These are the people I'd be interested in. These are my kids at school. They're at that certain
Yeah.
level, but things haven't happened yet, but they're on the precipice. And okay, this happens, everything stops. Everyone is now trying to redo their platforms. You look at all the ways the apps are working, and you try to keep pushing them. I'm saying a year for this country because we're such
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
failure as far as how we're handling the virus. Not with the teachers and with the programs, but the realities of when it's going to take in this country to get on our
Mhm.
for you. Let me work maybe a path or a journey for you that could be successful based on my experience in the industry. That I'm happy to do.
Okay. Okay. So, we have like 10 minutes. I normally let people go
No,
through
we
class
don't.
a little bit.
Uh,
But I wanted to ask you one, like we talked a little bit about this, and you said, well, you talk to me in a month, but uh, do you do you really think that this online wave of teaching is here to stay for voice?
it's a very good question. I don't have an answer for you. I
Okay.
really don't. I mean, talk to people in an office, and now they're saying the offices are changing their whole protocol. You don't have to go back to work because you're being more efficient at home. I think our art form needs to still be visceral. I need to feel the resonance you make in front of me. I need to feel what gets you here. I still feel that. Is it to stay? Well, they're going to be on the block for a lot longer than we ever thought. Let's put it that way. Will will there be a better siphoning into young artist programs? Sure, it's evolving now as we speak.
Hmm.
That's something that's very fascinating, and I'm watching that. I want to see how people frame and what the context is of young artist programs now and what the criteria is. Because you can't have that visceral, yes, they're now doing lovely videos. My God, I'm seeing beautiful mics. That halo, okay, I feel like I'm in Minority Report. I don't know if I want
We're
to buy
gonna
that
send you
yet.
one because I am wearing
Thank
one.
you.
I'm
Oh,
wearing
you
one
look
right now.
beautiful, but you shine. You look gorgeous. Um, Okay, I mean, people are trying to do the best to immediately adapt and evolve in an industry. So there is some great stuff out there. There certainly is, and it's going to get better. In 2 or 3 months, that technology will evolve. But I am going to make a personal plea to Bill Gates. If you want to have a vaccine and put in a microchip, can you please come up with a synchronous method where I can actually accompany the singer in real time? That's just a personal plea. He'll make
Amen.
millions.
Amen.
Hey, you'll make millions. Why not? I I think in a month or two, again, it's going to evolve to a different platform. I think
Yeah.
what we're doing right now live, adding somehow a studio ambiance for sound, which is going to be reverb, all that kind of stuff, will get to a certain level that the people who sat on the other side of the table, the buyers, will have, since they've been doing it all day, they'll have a better idea of a sound via their equipment. Of course, you're going to think they're going to have the best equipment anyhow to pick up the human voice. Does it replace the visceral one on one, face to face? No way.
No.
No way. This is where I'm
So
kicking and screaming. I don't want to go along with it.
no, I feel you. I feel you. It's good to know because like I I have so many constantly ideas about, virtual reality possibilities. I was watching the other day a tennis match with a lot of 50 people from around the world, and we were chatting about it. And I found, I figured out like, oh my God, like I can attend virtual reality events this way and have the community experience. And while you were saying, maybe, like we both get our Oculus from Facebook and we start coaching, but it has 360 microphones and move, but at the end of the day, we're coaching through avatars, right? Like you lose that
Right.
personal connection on that. But
Correct.
Tony, I want to ask you one thing that is always something that you and I have a lot of kick about it, but what are the things that would get you out of the studio of Tony Manoli? What are the things that you would say, like, never do in a voice lesson, in a coaching session? Because I think it's important. And now we're opening our gates of access to you and to so many pros. And I think for everybody that is going to teach or everybody that's going to go online, at the end of the day, the etiquette of the performance. You said sometimes we cry, we curse, definitely. We tell you truths that we haven't told our psychiatrist ever or our confessors. But what are the things that you're like, get out, get out? What are you things like, never do it again? You know?
Um, okay, it's going to be what it was before. If someone comes in here because they want to badmouth their teacher, but they're really a mole, and they really want to hear me just diss the teacher because they're
That
looking
happened.
for information, get all the time, get out. I really don't need this. That's for
Wow.
sure. I don't. There are people who have come in here and they speak in tongues. They have accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior, and they have seen the light. You're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Everything in the book after that is canceled. Something came up, and they're gone. So, it happens all the time. The buyer gets to choose. They write the check. They do
Yeah.
the Venmo. They do whatever. But I am always leery of someone coming in and bashing, and it happens a lot. And
Mm.
I have to keep trying to move the conversation or the work elsewhere. And if it keeps coming back to it, nope, nope, I don't want it. And if they're going to come in here and complain about the business constantly, how the business has always been out to get them, go elsewhere. Go to a chat group and just let it rip. But you're not working anymore. So if someone's coming in to do that, it's usually, this isn't going to work. I've never thrown someone out and said, get out, but I've come close. God knows.
God knows.
Get
No, but
out of here.
this is important because, at least before, and it's something that social media has helped and unfortunately allowed us to, like, we are consequencing so many things in life today that because we don't have the person in front of us, we're allowing ourselves to be maybe a little more truthful, but at the same time more selfish. When we
Hmm.
are in the room, I might be more measured or something, but if I'm online, I think that it's very important for everybody that is joining in, like be on time to your coaching, do your homework, like learn your music, even if you are like grieving for 4 days. If we allowed to, like, if we give you homework and there's like 4 days to before the next session, like use them and don't come like completely unprepared, or at least be truthful. It's like, hey, listen, life got really heavy, and it's true. Like, I wouldn't say that you wouldn't react in that way, like if you understand what everybody going through, but I think that there are certain things now that you're opening to a lot of yourself. Like, everybody that is teaching is open themselves to people maybe that are not normally like in like working with the pros. And you have a certain things because, as you said, you work with the pros. They have a lot of pressure. They have to have results constantly. They have to have a certain degree of efficiency on that, and you teach that way. So
Hmm.
the one that is reaching out has to know that this is game time. We're going to go at NBA speed. We're not going to go in like, the soccer league, the co-ed that we're going, like, we're going full pads, and we're going in, and they have to come expect that.
And
um,
that's where we
uh,
go back to the buyer. That's the second part of that. The buyer has to know that.
well, that's what I wanted to invite you here today. I think that, whatever is your motive here, I actually recommend a lot. If you have the aspiration to go to the next level, like, keep investing in your future. And I think Tony is an incredible coach that got us through so many things, so many recordings and competitions and operas, very successful to so many of us, and that's an attestment of your wealth of knowledge and again your professionalism. Tony, in 5 minutes or less, because actually I have to say goodbye to the audience and thank our board in the last 2 minutes. But what are your thoughts moving forward from your end? Like, what would you tell? Like, we have 400 plus singers joining us today. What would you say to them if you could say something?
Hang in there. Hang in there the best you can. Keep talking about your fears. Keep calling your colleagues and crying on their shoulders. Hang in there. Do the work. Be prepared for when this opens up again and the word Einspringen happens in the United States, because we don't know what that means. We will soon. And all of a sudden, those poor people who can't get visas because Il Duce won't let them into the country, we're going to be replaced with American singers who are waiting to go in and are prepared. Do the work. And then the next morning when you think you had a great night before, it's okay to have vodka with your cereal because you've been crying all night. That's life. We're all going to deal with those emotions. Do the work. Get through it. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. This industry is going to be a little more cruel in 6 months, but it'll also be a little bit more inviting and opening to more people than ever before. That I do see. So do your homework. Do your homework as much as you can. Learn, work on the languages. If you're working in a role in Italian and your Italian is horrible, get on this. Work with someone who's an expert to get the prosody of the language, the accento tonico. In French, get the pentameter of the language. Do your homework as much as you can and be prepared when it happens, because we will be back. As I say, Europe's opening. This country, sorry, we're on the slow bus. So when we get things happening, do the work, put it in. You'll be really well prepared to walk into a rehearsal period. Maybe a week or two late because they waited for somebody who can't get across the border. Okay, well, You're on. It's like life. It's just a little bit more dramatic now, with a few more variables thrown in for fun, like a pandemic.
Yeah, I get it. It's something that from my casting chairs in both sides of the ocean, I'm worried. I'm watching out. Like in Europe, I have to have a European based
Sure.
and heavy German base ready to roll, and then in America I have to have. I need to know where everybody else. I was very grateful that a few agencies starting sending where each performer lives of the roster, so we
Wow.
know that. So it's actually good business, But anyhow, Tony, I am so grateful that you decided to come here to talk to us. We can chat. I started to. Oh my God, I didn't ask you about your residency with the Heart Institute for Women Conductors, so we're gonna have to bring you again, maybe on Lena.
What, you're not plugging your own work? Come on, plug your work.
I know.
I was
Well,
hopeful.
Tony's faculty in the Heart Institute of Women Conductors. We love him there too. He teaches our conductors also about how to follow a singer a little better and so many other stuff. But Tony, it has been so great to have you here, and I want to thank you
Great
again
to be here.
to everybody that tuned in. Thank you, Tony. Thank you to our audience. You guys rock. It's amazing to see so many friends and family joining us today. Thank you to our incredible board at the Dallas Opera and our incredible leaders, Lisa Bury, Emmanuel Villom, and Ian Derrer, that let us keep playing with the TDO Network. To all the staff of the TDO Network that I saw here, Annie Penner, Cole Johnson, and so many others. Thank you again for your incredible performance. This is David Lomeli for Creative Conversations at the TDO Network, and I see you next week. Next week is going to be my last one before I go to hiatus for a little while. I'm going to take a little vacation for a few weeks. But I see you very soon. We're going to have an invited mystery host that is going to be hosting Creative Conversations in my absence. We're going to introduce them next week. But anyhow, thank you very much. This is David Lomeli. I see you very soon. Thank you, Tony.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.